Well, the jazz cruise started out of my being quite bored, playing tennis and playing bridge. And I loved jazz. And I decided to join, I joined a travel agent, just as a commission agent. I'd never worked before, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I got into becoming a commission agent, and because of my family's real estate background, I got to be a bigger agent than I ever dreamed of. So I thought, well, I'll open my own travel agency. That'll be easier than working for someone and doing it all so much myself. Well, that was, of course, a mistake. But I opened an agency, and a lot of friends came and worked as commission agents, and it all went very well. Well, then the travel business was getting a little more difficult, I could see. And how do? You have to do something different. Well, I was married to people that wasn't interested in jazz. I was interested in jazz, loved travel, and I had been booking on the Norway, that's Norwegian Cruise Line. They were doing jazz cruises, and I became their largest booker. Well, after a while, at the end of 98, 99, they decided they didn't want to do jazz cruises anymore. They were not making enough money on it. So at that point, I was booking about 1,000 people on their ship. So I decided, well, this is the time. I was just dying to do my own cruise. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew what they weren't doing, and so forth. But they did consult with me quite a bit, and on the musicians and everything else. And so my background was pretty good. And of course, my children thought, is she crazy? She's going to charter a ship. Well, you know, when you charter a ship, you're buying a ship for over $1 million. That ship's yours, whether you pay for sell one cabin or all the cabins. Well, I wasn't really scared because I had booked so many that I only needed about 200 more because I used the Westerdam, which was a smaller ship than what we use now. So I wasn't concerned. I really felt I could do it. And on the last sailing with the Norway, I announced to the people that I was going to do it. And there had been, so many had been coming with me for years. I says, now look, you all got a job. You want this to keep up, you've got to help me. And they did. They went out and they were just telling people about it and what we were going to do. Well, it started out with a very warm feeling between myself and the people and the musicians. And one of the people on the cruise, who's a songwriter, started calling it the family. And he said, when I said, are you coming back next year? He says, of course I got to come to my family every year. And that's the feeling that we started with. And we continued doing this for years. This is the 11th year, 11th or 12th year. And there's a feeling, I mean, we have so many people on here that have booked with me 15 years, nobody would believe. Some that have booked with me 18 years because we started on the Norway. And they keep coming back, and it's a warm atmosphere. Besides loving the music and the musicians, it's so much in common with each other. And you can see that some of them are getting a little older and up in age, but it's still passing on to the younger ones, which is what I'm thrilled about. Well, after a while, I too was getting a little bit older, and how much I actually booked my first charter. I was 70 years old. And my son later on came and started working with it. And he didn't realize until he was actually working with her that Mom was 70 years old when she started. This blew his mind. Well, now Michael has taken over. And my cruise was great when I was doing it, but nothing like it is today. He had a real natural talent for this. He's a great writer. He's everything. And the boys all took an interest because, first of all, they figured their inheritance was all going down the street because Mother was gambling on a cruise ship for $1 million. And then Michael became a part of it. And they were raised around jazz. I mean, the jazz was being played in their house all the time, so they knew jazz, not purposely, but you couldn't help from it in our house. And then I was also friendly with a lot of jazz musicians. And I wrote to them asking them for help. Well, Clark Terry was right there to help me. And Joe Williams was right there to help me. And Joe's wife, of course, is still on the cruise. She's sailing with us now and has been. So many people did help me and come through with it. And we had just great musicians, great. When I got on to this time, typically, I got a big bouquet of red roses from Houston Person. And that's the love. When I was still smoking, he was calling me on the phone every week to get me to stop. How many cigarettes have you had? Have you stopped? Well, I have now stopped quite a while, thanks to Houston Person. Because he was aggravating me to death, I had to stop. But it's been a blessing to me, but it's been a real blessing to everyone that goes on it. It is fun, it is something to look forward to, and of course, since my son took over, he just keeps adding and adding things onto it, and it's just fantastic. And of course, he's doing a few other cruises besides. He's into smooth jazz. Now, I like smooth jazz, but that's not my thing. My thing is straight ahead jazz, and I adore it. When I first started, I naturally got bids from several different cruise lines, and especially Norwegian, you know, because I had been with them. But then there was something about Holland America that I really felt their ranking is good, and it went with the people that I were going to book and I knew would rebook. And Holland America has been great with us. It has been a beautiful mix. It really has. It's just perfect. It's warm, it's friendly, and the accommodations are first class. And that's what I wanted. I've wanted everything that we've done with this has been first class. And it will remain first class. And I know when I'm not here to make it first class, my son will definitely be making it first class. And people keep saying to me this week, oh, it just gets better every year. I said, don't tell me about that. That's my son, not me. And it really is my son. I'm very proud of what he's done, and he's doing it with the warmth and what we felt we wanted this to be good for the musicians. We wanted them to look at this not just as a job, of being with each other. And that's what they have with this. And they love to be asked on the jazz cruise. We have no problem getting people to come on the jazz cruise. Good people. Oh yeah, there's so many memories that are special, and when you talk about Joe Williams, if Joe would have been alive, he'd be on every cruise I did. There would never not be a Joe Williams. There's a piano player, Eddie Higgins, who died 2 years ago. He was always on the jazz cruises. Everything was special. The people were special. Somebody says, I've had people say to me, how can you go on a cruise with a couple of thousand people that you know, are customers? I never looked at them as customers. I looked at them as friends, and I still know they're friends. And then we got to know some people from England, and they came over, and now we have a huge group from all over in the United States, over in England, South America. I can't even begin to tell you what countries. We did a map. Unfortunately, they didn't bring it with them this time. That shows you how many countries we're in. And we had a gathering for what we call Friends from Over the Pond the other day, and I think we had about 140 people. And it's just more and more that keep coming every year. And I mean, when I say coming every year, some of these people from England have gone all 15 years. And it's just been great. That's all I can say. It's something that all of us look forward to, and we've had songwriters on here that are really special. Henry Mancini came on about 3 times, and he was booked for a fourth time and passed away. In fact, he had his kids booked too to come. And Henry used to say, he says, what more can a person want out of a vacation? You've got great jazz, you've got great food, you don't have to worry about a thing. And he really, really loved it. And, we've had a number of very popular, the fellow the man that I can't think of his name offhand, wrote MASH, he came several years in a row on the cruise. In fact, adored it, just adored it. And he was always writing, but he'd write during the day up in his cabin and then come down at night for the music. And I've made such wonderful friends from this that I can't explain. It has made my life so exciting.